The morning sun streams through the windows of Mitchell Anderson's corner office at the top of one of Manhattan's most prestigious buildings. His fingers trace over the freshly signed acquisition papers on his mahogany desk. Sterling Enterprises, the crown jewel of New York's tech industry, now belongs to him. But his mind isn't on the $4.2 billion deal he just closed. Instead, it drifts to 6 months ago, when everything changed. I'd love to know which corner of the globe you're watching from. And if this story speaks to you, make sure to subscribe. Tomorrow's video is one you absolutely can't miss. Mitchell lived a different life then. He was just another software developer at a promising startup, sharing a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn with his girlfriend of 3 years, Sarah. Mitchell. Their life wasn't luxurious, but it was real. They had movie nights on their worn leather couch, cooked dinner together in their tiny kitchen, and dreamed about their future while watching the sunset from their fire escape. "Mitch, we need to talk." Sarah's voice that evening was different, colder, more distant. She sat at their small dining table, her usually warm brown eyes avoiding his gaze. "I've been offered a position at Sterling Enterprises." Mitchell smiled, genuinely happy for her. "That's amazing. Their marketing department is top tier. We should celebrate." "I'm not just taking the job, Mitch. I've been seeing someone." The world seemed to freeze. "What?" "His name is Bradley Sterling. He's the CEO." Sarah's voice trembled slightly, but her resolve was clear. "He can give me the life I've always dreamed of. The life you're too content to chase." Mitchell stood there, stunned. The woman he'd planned to propose to next month was leaving him for a CEO she'd known for what? Weeks? Months? His mind raced through their recent history, her late nights at networking events, the mysterious text messages, her sudden interest in designer brands. "How long?" His voice was barely a whisper. 2 months. Sarah finally looked up at him. "Bradley's different, Mitch. He's ambitious, driven. He knows what he wants and goes after it. When was the last time you even tried for a promotion?" The irony of her words would have made him laugh if it didn't hurt so much. She had no idea that his contentment was actually careful planning. His startup, Anderson Technologies, had been quietly revolutionizing AI infrastructure. Major companies were already in a bidding war for the patents, but he'd wanted to keep it quiet, build something real before showing the world. "I hope he makes you happy, Sarah." Mitchell's voice was steady, masking the storm inside. He watched as she packed her designer bags, gifts from Bradley no doubt, and walked out of their shared life without a backward glance. Present day, back in the penthouse office. "Mr. Anderson?" His assistant Jessica Thompson interrupts his thoughts. "The board of Sterling Enterprises is waiting in the main conference room, and Mr. Sterling has requested a private meeting before the general announcement." Mitchell straightens his custom-tailored Tom Ford suit. The past 6 months have transformed him, not just his net worth, but his entire presence. Gone is the casual developer in hoodies and jeans. In his place stands a man Forbes recently named tech's most enigmatic billionaire. "Send him in, Jessica." Mitchell's voice is calm, controlled. He turns to face the Manhattan skyline, hands clasped behind his back. The door opens, and Bradley Sterling's confident footsteps echo through the office. At 45, Sterling is the picture of old money and inherited success. Silver-streaked hair, expensive suit, and an air of someone who's never heard the word no. "Anderson?" Sterling's voice carries a hint of desperation beneath its usual authority. "Let's be reasonable about this. Sterling Enterprises has been in my family for 3 generations. Surely we can come to some arrangement." Mitchell turns, his expression unreadable. "Reasonable? Like dating your employees while they're in relationships? Or was it reasonable when you laid off 200 workers last quarter to fund your new yacht?" Sterling's face reddens. "You don't understand the complexities of running a company this size." "Actually, I do." Mitchell slides a folder across his desk. Your company's infrastructure is outdated. Your AI development is at least 2 years behind the curve. The only thing keeping Sterling Enterprises afloat was your family name and some creative accounting. How dare you? The board meeting starts in 10 minutes. You can either accept the generous severance package in that folder, or we can discuss the irregularities I found in your company's books. Your choice, Bradley. Just then, the office door opens again. Sarah walks in, her designer outfit and perfectly styled hair a stark contrast to the simple beauty Mitchell fell in love with years ago. She freezes when she sees him. Mitch? What? What are you doing here? Her eyes darted between him and Bradley. Sarah, darling, now's not a good time. Bradley starts, but Mitchell cuts him off. Actually, your timing is perfect, Sarah. I was just explaining to Bradley here that Anderson Technologies has acquired Sterling Enterprises. As of this morning, I own the company. Mitchell's voice remains professional, but there's a glint in his eye. I believe you're in marketing? Jessica will help you move your things to the downtown office. We're consolidating departments. Sarah's face pales as realization dawns. The man she left for his supposed lack of ambition now controls not just her career, but Bradley's entire empire. The board meeting starts in 8 minutes. Mitchell turns back to his desk, dismissing them both. I'd rather not start my first day as CEO by being late. As Bradley and Sarah leave his office, Mitchell allows himself a small smile. Sometimes life's greatest lessons come with $1 billion price tag, and he's just taught one hell of a lesson. The tension in Mitchell's office hangs thick in the air after their departure. He loosens his tie slightly, allowing himself a moment of vulnerability now that he's alone. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, he watches as Bradley's distinctive Bentley pulls away from the building. 6 months ago, that car had been one of Sarah's favorite talking points about Bradley's success. Jessica returns with a stack of documents requiring his immediate attention. The board members are getting restless, Mr. Anderson, and PR needs to know how you'd like to handle the public announcement. Tell them we're taking a different approach. Mitchell picks up a framed photo from his desk, his old development team from before everything changed. Have HR freeze all planned layoffs. Instead, we're doubling the R&D budget and implementing the employee stock option plan we discussed. Jessica raises an eyebrow but makes the notes without comment. She's worked with him long enough to understand that behind his calculated moves often lies a deeper purpose. Also, get me everything you can on Project Atlas, Sterling's failed attempt at AI integration. I want to know every developer who got blamed for its failure. Mitchell's jaw tightens. I have a feeling some talented people got thrown under the bus to cover executive mistakes. As Jessica leaves, Mitchell's phone buzzes with a text from his best friend and business partner, Derek Hayes. Saw the acquisition news. Does she know yet? Mitchell types back. She just found out, along with her CEO boyfriend. Derek's response is quick. Karma's a billionaire, buddy. Drinks tonight? Before Mitchell can reply, his private elevator chimes. The doors open to reveal Thomas Wheeler, his former supervisor at the startup where he'd met Sarah. These days, Thomas is his chief technical officer and one of the few people who knew about his plans from the beginning. Quite a morning, isn't it? Thomas grins, walking in with a bottle of champagne. Never thought I'd see the day Bradley Sterling got outmaneuvered by the quiet developer he used to mock at tech conferences. Mitchell gestures to the chairs by the window. You were right about keeping Anderson Technologies under the radar. Sterling was so focused on his public image, he never saw us coming. Speaking of image, Thomas sets down 2 glasses. Your mother called. She wants to know if you're still coming to Sunday dinner, or if being a tech mogul means you're too busy for her pot roast now. The mention of his mother brings a genuine smile to Mitchell's face. Throughout everything, the secret development of Anderson Technologies, the painful breakup with Sarah, the calculated acquisition of Sterling Enterprises, His mother had remained his anchor. She'd supported his decision to live modestly despite his growing success, understanding his need to build something meaningful rather than just flash wealth around. Tell her I wouldn't miss it. Mitchell accepts the champagne. After all, she's the one who taught me that true value isn't about what you own, but what you build. Thomas raises his glass. To build something real. To build something real, Mitchell echoes, but his mind drifts to the upcoming board meeting. In less than an hour, he'll have to face not just Bradley and Sarah, but the entire Sterling Enterprises leadership team. Some will resist the change in management, clinging to Bradley's outdated vision. Others will try to curry favor, suddenly seeing him as more than just a quiet developer. A lot of love and effort went into bringing this story to life. If you're enjoying it, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. Now, back to where we left off. But Mitchell's vision extends beyond personal vindication. He pulls up the Project Atlas files on his tablet. Dozens of brilliant developers whose careers Bradley damaged to protect his own reputation. Their innovations, dismissed and buried by Sterling's management, could have revolutionized the industry. Before you head into the lion's den, Thomas speaks up. There's something you should know. Rebecca Chen is on the board. Mitchell's hand stills on his glass. Rebecca had been Sarah's best friend until she'd discovered the affair with Bradley. Her attempt to warn Mitchell had cost her her position as Sterling's head of innovation. She kept her board seat, Mitchell asks, surprised. Minority shareholder rights. Bradley couldn't force her out completely, but he buried her influence. She's been systematically excluded from major decisions for months. A plan begins forming. In Mitchell's mind, Rebecca's integrity had cost her everything. But now she could be instrumental in rebuilding Sterling Enterprises the right way. Jessica's voice comes through the intercom. Mr. Anderson, the board is ready for you. Mitchell straightens his tie and buttons his suit jacket. Thomas raises an eyebrow. Ready to change the world? No, Mitchell replies, gathering his documents. Ready to fix it. The walk to the conference room feels like a culmination of everything that's led to this moment. Each step takes him further from the life he shared with Sarah in their Brooklyn apartment, yet somehow closer to the person he was always meant to be. As he approaches the boardroom's glass doors, he catches his reflection, polished, confident, unstoppable. The quiet developer who got underestimated by everyone is gone. In his place stands a man who's about to reshape the future of tech, one innovation at a time. Mitchell places his hand on the door handle, pausing for just a moment. Beyond this threshold waits not just a boardroom full of executives, but a chance to prove that success isn't about who you know or who you step on to get ahead. It's about building something meaningful, something that lasts. He opens the door. The Sterling Enterprises boardroom falls silent as Mitchell Anderson enters. 12. Pairs of eyes track his movement to the head of the massive mahogany table, the same seat Bradley Sterling had occupied just yesterday. The contrast couldn't be more striking. Where Bradley ruled through intimidation, Mitchell's quiet confidence commands genuine attention. Rebecca Chen, seated near the far end, catches his eye. Her slight nod carries years of unspoken history. Despite her position on the board, her business casual attire stands out among the sea of expensive suits, Bradley's subtle way of marking her as an outsider. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell begins, his voice steady and clear. You've all received the acquisition documents. Sterling Enterprises is now a subsidiary of Anderson Technologies. I'm here to outline our path forward. Bradley Sterling shifts. In his seat, his legendary composure cracking. This is absurd. The board hasn't approved. The board's approval isn't required. Rebecca interrupts, sliding a document forward. Mr. Anderson acquired 67% of voting shares through private deals over the past 3 months. The decision is already finalized. Sarah, seated beside Bradley, pales visibly. Her perfectly manicured hands tremble as she flips through the papers in front of her. Mitchell continues, pulling up a presentation on the room's displays. Sterling Enterprises has lost market share for 3 consecutive quarters. Employee turnover is at an all-time high. Project Atlas's failure cost us partnerships with 5 major tech firms. Those setbacks were due to market conditions, Bradley starts. Those setbacks, Mitchell cuts in, were due to mismanagement and a toxic corporate culture. Ms. Chen tried to warn the board 6 months ago. Instead of listening, you buried her concerns and demoted key developers. The room stirs. Several board members glance at Rebecca, seeing her in a new light. Mr. Anderson, Charles Wright, the eldest board member, leans forward. While the numbers support your assessment, Sterling Enterprises has certain traditional values. Our clients expect a certain approach. Our clients expect results, Mitchell counters. He brings up another slide showing Anderson Technologies' growth metrics. My company achieved 300% growth by nurturing innovation, not suppressing it. Starting today, Sterling Enterprises will do the same. He outlines his vision, reinstating dismissed developers, doubling the R&D budget, implementing employee stock options. With each point, Bradley's face grows redder while other board members lean in with increasing interest. This is corporate suicide, Bradley explodes, standing up. You can't just walk in here and dismantle 3 generations of business practice. Actually, I can. And to demonstrate our new direction. Mitchell nods to Jessica, who begins distributing folders. These are the Project Atlas files, not the sanitized version the board received, but the original documentation showing whose innovations were stolen and who really caused its failure. Sarah's hand flies to her mouth as she reads. Shidai handled Project Atlas's PR disaster, selling the story Bradley had given her. Now she's seeing the truth, including emails proving Bradley had sacrificed careers to cover his mistakes. This is a witch hunt, Bradley snarls. Sarah, tell them about Anderson. Tell them what he was like. No ambition, no vision. That's enough, Mr. Sterling. Charles Wright's authoritative voice cuts through the tension. The evidence speaks for itself. The board will not contest this acquisition. Mitchell stands, buttoning his jacket. Ms. Thompson will provide transition details. Mr. Sterling, your severance package expires at noon. Ms. Chen will assume the role of Chief Innovation Officer, effective immediately. As others file out, Sarah remains seated, staring at the project. Atlas files. Mitchell pauses at the door. The downtown office could use someone with your PR skills, Sarah, if you're interested in earning success rather than dating it. He leaves her there, surrounded by evidence of the shallow world she chose over what they had. Scene: Mitchell's private elevator, an hour later. Well, that was entertaining. Rebecca falls into step beside Mitchell as they exit the boardroom. Though you might have warned me about the CIO position. Would you have prepared a different outfit if I had? He grins, remembering their old friendship. Please, some of us didn't need a billionaire makeover to know our worth. Her smile fades. I tried to tell you, about them. I know. Mitchell leads them into his private elevator. That's why you're perfect for this role. You did the right thing even when it cost you everything. The elevator rises smoothly toward his office. The developers Bradley fired. Can you get me their contact information? Rebecca pulls out her phone. Already did, including Mark Winters. Mitchell's eyebrows rise. Mark had been his mentor at his first coding job before Bradley pushed him out. He's still in tech? Teaching high school computer science in Queens. His non-compete expires next month. The elevator doors open to reveal Thomas waiting with Derek, who's brought lunch from their favorite Brooklyn deli, a reminder of simpler times. The vultures are circling, Derek announces, tossing Mitchell a pastrami sandwich. CNBC, Bloomberg, WSJ. They all want to know how the unknown developer engineered the biggest tech acquisition of the year. Let them wonder. Mitchell unwraps. his sandwich savoring the familiar taste. We've got more important things to focus on, like the fact that Sterling's Asian market division is hemorrhaging money. Thomas pulls up financial reports on his tablet. Their infrastructure's even worse than we thought. No. Mitchell takes a seat at his desk, gesturing for the others to join him, like making sure no other CEO can bury innovations or destroy careers to protect their ego. Sterling Enterprises stops being a personality cult today. Rebecca raises an eyebrow. That's going to make a lot of powerful people nervous. Good. Mitchell's voice carries the same quiet determination that built Anderson Technologies. Let them see what happens when you underestimate the quiet ones. A notification pops up on his phone. His mother, reminding him about Sunday dinner. Dung-duct, all the corporate drama and personal vindication, her message brings him back to what matters. Building something meaningful, something real. Derek catches his smile. Your mom is still making that pot roast? Every Sunday. Mitchell looks around at his trusted circle, the ones who stood by him, believed in his vision, choosing integrity over easy success. You're all invited by the way. Mom always said her table has room for family. Speaking of family, Thomas interjects. Sterling's trying to rally shareholders for an emergency meeting, claims you're destroying his family's legacy. Mitchell's expression hardens. His family's legacy was innovation, before it became about yachts and publicity stunts. We're not destroying it. We're restoring it. A knock at the door interrupts them. Jessica enters with an urgent expression. Mr. Anderson, Bradley Sterling is giving a press conference in the lobby. He's making accusations. The group crowds around Mitchell's screen, where Bradley stands before a mob of reporters, his practiced charm replaced by barely controlled rage. Sterling Enterprises was built on tradition, on values, Bradley declares. This hostile takeover by a man who couldn't even keep his girlfriend represents everything wrong with modern tech. Mitchell switches off the screen. Let him talk. Actions speak louder than press conferences. Rebecca checks her phone. Sterling stock is up 12% since the acquisition announcement. Looks like the market prefers substance over style. Speaking of substance, Derek grins. Wait until they see what you're planning for the developer conference next month. Mitchell returns to his desk, picking up the Project Atlas files. In his mind, he sees the faces of every developer Bradley discarded, every innovation buried to protect one man's ego. By the time he's done, Sterling Enterprises will be unrecognizable, transformed from a monument to old money into an engine of true innovation. Jessica, he calls out, get me Mark Winters on the phone. It's time to bring everyone home. The afternoon sun casts long shadows across Mitchell's office as Jessica returns with another update. Sir, there's a situation in the development department. Several team leads are threatening to resign in solidarity with Mr. Sterling. Mitchell exchanges glances with Rebecca. They'd anticipated this. Bradley's influence runs deep, particularly among those whose careers he'd artificially elevated. Time to show them what real leadership looks like. Mitchell rises from his desk. Rebecca, you're with me. Thomas, start the security protocol we discussed. The elevator ride to the development floor is tense. Rebecca scrolls through her tablet, pulling up personnel files. Jason Morris, lead architect. Amanda Foster, back-end development. Christopher Porter, systems integration. All promoted during Project Atlas's collapse. All complicit in burying the truth, Mitchell adds quietly. The development floor falls, silent as they enter. Rows of startled faces turn to watch Mitchell navigate through the maze of desks toward the main conference room where raised voices echo through glass walls. Inside, Jason Morris is holding court among 24 developers. Can't just walk in here and expect us to abandon everything we've built. He stops mid-sentence as Mitchell enters. Please continue, Mr. Morris. Mitchell's voice carries easily through the now silent room. Tell us more about what you've built? Jason straightens. attempting intimidation in his posture. Sterling Enterprises has a specific way of doing things. Our methodologies— Your methodologies? Rebecca steps forward, touching her tablet. The room's displays light up with Project Atlas's original architecture diagrams. These methodologies? The color drains from Jason's face as he recognizes his own work. Or rather, the work he'd claimed as his own. On the screen, the original attribution clearly shows different names. Developers who'd been forced out during Bradley's purge. That's classified information, Amanda Foster protests, but her voice wavers. Nothing in this company is classified. From its owner, Mitchell replies. He turns to address the entire room. I understand loyalty. I respect it. But loyalty should be earned through integrity, not purchased through promotions. He begins to pace slowly, making eye contact with different developers. Every person in this room has value. Every innovation deserves recognition. Starting today, Sterling Enterprises returns to being a meritocracy, where success comes from what you create, not who you know. A young developer in the back raises her hand tentatively. What about our current projects? Continue your work, Mitchell answers. But from now on, all code submissions will include complete attribution. No more buried credits, no more stolen innovations. Christopher Porter scoffs. And if we refuse to work under these changes? Your severance packages will be generous, Rebecca interjects. Though perhaps not as generous as the settlements will offer to the developers whose work you claimed as your own. The room erupts in murmurs. Mitchell raises his hand for silence. I'm not here to punish anyone. I'm here to rebuild something extraordinary. Those who want to be part of that vision are welcome to stay. Those who don't will be treated fairly on their way out. He nods to Rebecca, who distributes tablets to each team lead. These contain the real Project Atlas documentation. Review it. Make things right with your teams. You have until tomorrow to decide your path forward. As they exit, a familiar face catches Mitchell's eye. David Chen, a junior developer who'd started around the same time Mitchell had begun watching Sterling Enterprises. The kid's brilliant but has been consistently overlooked. Mr. Chen, Mitchell calls out. A moment? David approaches nervously, clutching his laptop. Sir? That blockchain implementation you proposed last month, the one Mr. Morris rejected? I'd like to see it. David's eyes widened. You know about that? I make it my business to know when good ideas get buried. Mitchell gestures toward his office. Bring it upstairs in an hour. Let's see what you can really do. The elevator. Ride back is interrupted at the PR floor. The doors open to reveal Sarah, surrounded by boxes, supervising movers packing up her office. Downtown office not to your liking? Mitchell asks mildly. Sarah steps into the elevator, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. Why are you doing this, Mitch? Is it all just revenge? Revenge? Mitchell studies her reflection in the polished doors. Revenge would be letting this company continue down Bradley's path while I watch it collapse. This is resurrection. The Bradley I know, the Bradley you know, Rebecca cuts in, just cost 200 people their jobs because he needed a new yacht. Bradley, buried innovations that could have changed lives just to protect his ego. Sarah turns to Rebecca, hurt in her eyes. We used to be friends, Becca. You used to understand ambition. Ambition? Rebecca's laugh is sharp. Is that what you call sleeping your way to the top while betraying everyone who cared about you? The elevator arrives at Mitchell's floor, but he holds the door. The downtown office position remains open, Sarah. Your choice. Stay with Bradley's. Sinking ship, or rebuild your career the right way. He steps out, leaving her to decide. Rebecca follows, shaking her head. She'll choose Bradley. Probably, Mitchell agrees. Some people never learn the difference between success and significance. They enter his office to find Thomas and Derek, deep in discussion with a new face, Mark Winters himself, looking older but still carrying the same passionate energy that had inspired Mitchell years ago. "Mark?" Mitchell stops short. "I thought you were teaching in Queens." "I was." Mark grins, rising to shake his hand. "Until your CIO here made me an offer I couldn't refuse." "Something about rebuilding Sterling Enterprises' soul?" Mitchell embraces his old mentor, emotions threatening to break through his carefully maintained composure. "Welcome home." "Save the sentiment." Mark pulls back, already pulling up diagrams on his tablet. "Wait until you see what my students and I have been developing. Remember that quantum computing problem you could never crack? Well, the rest of the afternoon dissolves into technical discussions, innovation plans, and strategy sessions. Outside, Mitchell's windows, the sun sets over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of possibility. Jessica's voice interrupts their flow. "Mr. Anderson, the development team leads have all made their decisions. 13 are staying, including David Chen. 9 are leaving with Mr. Sterling. Start transition protocols for the departing leads," Mitchell instructs. "And Jessica, schedule a company-wide meeting for tomorrow morning. It's time everyone understood exactly what kind of company we're building." As his team disperses for the evening, Mitchell remains at his desk, reviewing David Chen's blockchain proposal. In the margins of the young developer's code, he sees echoes of his own past, brilliant ideas just waiting for someone to notice, to nurture, to believe in them. His phone buzzes, a message from his mother. "Proud of you, sweetheart. Extra pot roast this Sunday?" Mitchell smiles, sending back a quick reply. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight he's reminded of why he started this journey. Not for revenge, not for vindication, but to build something that matters. On his screen, Bradley's press conference plays silently, the former CEO's carefully crafted image crumbling in real time as the market responds to Mitchell's vision for the future. But Mitchell's attention is on David Chen's code, on Mark Winter's innovations, on the countless buried ideas about seeing the light. "Time to wake up, Sterling Enterprises," he murmurs to himself. "The quiet ones are taking over." Dawn breaks over Manhattan as employees stream into Sterling Enterprises' headquarters. The atmosphere crackles with uncertainty. Overnight, news of the dramatic leadership change has spread through every department. The company's iconic logo still dominates the lobby, but temporary barriers indicate renovation crews preparing for changes. Mitchell stands at his office window, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. His reflection shows a man who hasn't slept, his usually pristine suit slightly rumpled from an all-night strategy session. On his desk, multiple screens display news coverage of yesterday's acquisition. Tech's biggest coup, unknown developer takes control of Sterling Enterprises. Bradley Sterling's empire crumbles, a dynasty's end. Wall Street shocked as Anderson. Technologies acquires Sterling in surprise move. "Your mother called again," Jessica announces, entering with fresh coffee. "She's worried you're not eating properly. Also, the contractors need approval for the new security system installation." Mitchell accepts the coffee gratefully. "Tell Mom I had breakfast, and tell the contractors." A commotion erupts in the reception area. Bradley Sterling's voice carries through the doors, demanding entrance despite his revoked access. Mitchell sighs, setting down his coffee. "Let him through," he instructs security via intercom. "It's time we settled this." Bradley bursts in, his usual polish absent. His designer suit is wrinkled, his signature silver hair disheveled. Behind him, Sarah hovers uncertainty near the door. "You think you've won?" Bradley's voice shakes with rage. "I built connections over decades. One phone call and I can—" "Your phone calls don't carry much weight anymore," Mitchell interrupts, sliding a newspaper across his desk. The headline reads, "Sterling Family Trust under investigation. SEC probes irregular trading patterns." Bradley's face drains of color. "You didn't." "I didn't have to. Turns out when you spend years manipulating markets, someone eventually notices. Mitchell's voice remains calm. The SEC investigation was already underway. I just declined to interfere when I took control. Sarah steps forward, her designer outfit a stark contrast to her uncertain expression. Bradley said you're destroying everything. The partnerships? The traditions? The partnerships built on nepotism? The traditions of suppressing innovation? Mitchell turns to his screens, pulling up Project Atlas's real documentation. Take a look, Sarah. See what your boyfriend actually built his reputation on. As Sarah reads, her professional PR mask crumbles. The documents reveal years of systematic theft, innovations stolen, careers destroyed, all to maintain Bradley's illusion of genius. You never asked, did you? Mitchell's voice softened slightly. About what happened to the developers who mysteriously left. About why Rebecca got demoted. You just accepted his version because it came with designer bags and premium credit cards. That's enough! Bradley slams his hand on Mitchell's desk. I still have friends in this industry. By the time I'm done, no one will work with Anderson Technologies. Mr. Anderson? David Chen appears at the door, tablet in hand. The blockchain implementation is ready for review, and Mr. Winters wants to discuss quantum computing integration. Mitchell nods. Thank you, David. Please tell Mark I'll be there shortly. He turns back to Bradley. You see, that's the difference between us. You spent years building walls. I build bridges. You're making a mistake, Bradley warns, desperation creeping into his voice. The old money crowd, they won't accept you. You'll always be the developer who got lucky. Lucky? Mitchell's laugh holds no humor. I spent 3 years watching. You destroy what the Sterling family built. I studied every mistake, every missed opportunity, every buried innovation. This isn't luck, Bradley. This is architecture. Sarah's voice breaks the tension. The downtown office. Is that offer still open? Bradley whirls on her. Sarah, don't you dare. The position remains available, Mitchell answers, ignoring Bradley. Though you'll start as a junior associate. Success is earned at my company, not dated. You ungrateful. Bradley starts toward Sarah, but security appears at the door. Mr. Sterling, the head of security says firmly, your presence is no longer welcome in this building. Please exit voluntarily, or we'll assist you. As Bradley is escorted out, Sarah lingers. I didn't know, Mitch. About Project Atlas, about Rebecca. I swear I didn't know. You never asked. Mitchell turns away, dismissing her. Report to HR tomorrow if you want the position. Prove you can build something real. After they leave, Rebecca enters through a side door. Quite a performance. Though you might have mentioned the SEC investigation. Earlier, wasn't relevant until now. Mitchell straightens his tie. How's the integration team? Mark's got them revising the entire development pipeline. You should see the junior developers. It's like watching kids discover their parents aren't actually in charge anymore. Mitchell grins. Speaking of discoveries, how's the audit of Bradley's executive files coming? Rebecca's expression turns serious. We found something interesting. Remember Quantum Solutions? The startup Bradley crushed last year? The quantum encryption company? They had promising tech before Sterling Enterprises blocked their patents. Their founder, Emma Lawrence, has been trying to rebuild. She's brilliant, but Bradley's legal team buried her in litigation. Rebecca pulls up a file. She's working. As a freelance consultant now, barely staying afloat. Mitchell studies Emma's profile. MIT graduate, multiple patents, the kind of innovator Bradley feared most. Find her. Offer whatever it takes to bring her on board. Already did. Rebecca's smile turns mischievous. She's waiting in the developer conference room. Apparently, someone told her Sterling Enterprises is under new management. The morning passes in a blur of meetings, each one reshaping another aspect of Sterling's corporate culture. Mitchell moves through them with precision, but his mind keeps returning to the quantum computing possibilities Emma's innovations could unlock. During a brief break, Derek arrives with lunch, this time from a high-end Manhattan restaurant. Upgrading from Brooklyn delis already? The delivery guy recognized me from the news, Mitchell admits. Called me sir and everything. It was uncomfortable. Derek laughs. Better get used to it. You're not the invisible developer anymore. Maybe not. Mitchell glances at his screens, where David Chen's blockchain code fills one display, while Emma Lawrence's quantum encryption patents fill another. But I haven't forgotten what it's like to be invisible. Speaking of which, how's the talent search going? You mean Operation Rescue Bradley's Rejects? Derek pulls up a list. Found 16 more developers he pushed out over the years. 3 started their own companies, 2 joined Google, and the rest, well, they could use a fresh start. Make the calls. Offer them their innovations back, plus funding to continue their research. Mitchell's voice hardens. Bradley didn't just steal their work, he stole their dreams. Time to give them back. Jessica interrupts with urgent news. Sir, Bradley Sterling just announced he's starting a new venture. He's calling it Sterling Innovation Group and claiming he's taking his most loyal employees with him. Mitchell remains calm. Let him. Innovation isn't built on loyalty to one man. It's built on... A sudden commotion outside draws their attention. Through the glass walls, they see Emma Lawrence arguing with security while Sarah tries to intervene. Mitchell nods to Jessica, who buzzes them through. Just need 5 minutes, Emma is saying, her brilliant mind evident even in her frustration. Your quantum encryption implementation is fundamentally flawed. If you deploy it like this, show me, Mitchell interrupts, leading them to his private conference room. For the next hour, Emma demonstrates exactly how Bradley's team had corrupted her original design, turning elegant innovation into corporate bloatware. As she speaks, Mitchell sees the same fire that drove him, the need to build something genuine, something transformative. By the time she finishes, he's made his decision. How would you like to head our new quantum division? Complete autonomy, full credit for your innovations, and a direct line to the CEO. Emma's eyes narrow. The last CEO who made me promises stole my life's work. I know. I also know you've got 3 better encryption methods you haven't patented yet because you don't trust the system. Mitchell holds her gaze. I'm not asking you to trust the system. I'm asking you to help me build a better one. A slow smile spreads across Emma's face. When do I start? Later that evening, as the office empties, Mitchell finds himself on the roof garden Bradley had installed for private parties. The city stretches out before him, a maze of possibilities and challenges. His phone buzzes, a message from Sarah. Accepted the downtown position. Thank you for the second chance. Before he can respond, another message arrives, this one from Rebecca. Emma's team found something in the old Sterling servers. You need to see this. Mitchell looks out over the city one last time, then turns toward the door. The day isn't over yet, and tomorrow promises even bigger challenges. But for the first time since taking control of Sterling Enterprises, he feels the pieces falling into place. Bradley tried to build an empire on stolen dreams. Mitchell's building something stronger, a future where innovation belongs to the innovators. Mitchell's return to his office is interrupted by Thomas, who arrives with a group of wide-eyed interns. Sorry to ambush you, but they've been working on something you need to see. The youngest intern, Amy Parker, steps forward with determination. Mr. Anderson, we found irregularities in Sterling's Asian market data. The numbers don't match the official reports. Mitchell waves them into his office, where Amy connects her laptop to the main display. Lines of code fill the screen, along with financial data that tells a disturbing story. The discrepancies started 3 years ago, Amy explains, her confidence growing. Small at first, but they form a pattern. Someone was siphoning research funds from the Asian division into private accounts. Thomas interjects, Under Bradley's management, these transfers would have needed multiple approvals, board-level signatures. Pull up the authorization chain, Mitchell instructs, though he already suspects what they'll find. The signatures appear on screen: Bradley Sterling, Charles Wright, and a third name that makes Mitchell's blood run cold: James Harrison, Sterling Enterprises' longtime legal counsel. James is still head of our legal department, Jessica notes quietly. Mitchell's mind races through implications. James Harrison had architected every major Sterling Enterprises contract for the past decade. If he's compromised, lock down the legal department servers, Mitchell orders. Full audit, everything Harrison's touched in the last 5 years. And get me already on it. Rebecca appears in the doorway, tablet in hand. Emma's team found the same irregularities from a different angle. The quantum encryption protocols Harrison insisted on implementing? They have backdoors, lots of them. The office buzzes with activity as teams mobilize. Mitchell turns to Amy and her fellow interns. How would you like to work with Emma's quantum division? She could use fresh eyes on these protocols. Amy's face lights up. Really? But we're just interns. There are no just positions here anymore, Mitchell assures her. Only people who see problems and solve them. As the interns leave with Thomas, Derek arrives with more updates. Sterling Innovation Group's website just went live. He's positioning himself as the true heir to tech innovation. Claims he's got major backing from Silicon Valley. Mitchell scrolls through Bradley's slick new website. The promises are grand, but the substance is lacking. Typical Bradley style over substance. He's desperate, Rebecca observes. Look at the partner logos. Half those companies haven't committed to anything. He's bluffing. Let him bluff, Mitchell decides. We focus on building, not posturing. Speaking of which, how's Mark's quantum computing integration coming along? See for yourself, Rebecca grins, leading them to the development floor. The scene that greets them is organized chaos. Mark Winters stands at a central workstation, orchestrating teams like a conductor. On massive screens, Emma's quantum encryption protocols merge with David's blockchain architecture, creating something entirely new. Mitchell, Mark waves them over. Remember that processing bottleneck we could never solve? Watch this. The demonstration that follows showcases the power of unleashed innovation. Emma's quantum solutions, combined with David's blockchain approach, solve problems Bradley's team had declared impossible. When can we implement it? Mitchell asks, already seeing the possibilities. Give us 2 weeks, Emma calls from her station. We're rewriting the core architecture, but with the interns' help on testing. A notification pings on Mitchell's phone. Another message from Sarah. Found something in the PR archives. Need to meet privately. It's about Harrison. Mitchell shows the message to Rebecca, who frowns. Could be a trap. Or she's finally choosing a side, Mitchell counters. Set up a meeting, but with precautions. The day stretches into evening as Mitchell moves between teams, watching his vision for Sterling Enterprises take shape. In the quantum division, Amy and her fellow interns work alongside experienced developers, their fresh perspectives sparking new solutions. On the blockchain floor, David Chen leads a team rebuilding the company's security infrastructure. At sunset, Mitchell finds himself back in the roof garden, this time accompanied by his mother, who's brought dinner in a familiar brown paper bag. You missed Sunday dinner, she chides gently, unpacking containers of home-cooked comfort food. The Empire Building can wait one evening. Mitchell accepts a container of his favorite pasta, realizing he hasn't eaten all day. Sorry, Mom. It's just, there's so much to fix here. I know, sweetheart. She studies him with knowing eyes. But don't forget why you started this. It wasn't about fixing a company. It was about building something real. Their dinner is interrupted by Jessica. Sir? Emma's team cracked Harrison's encryption. You need to see what they found. The discoveries in Harrison's files cast a long shadow over Sterling Enterprises' future. Not just financial fraud, but systematic suppression of innovations that could have transformed industries. Bradley hadn't just stolen ideas, he'd buried technologies that threatened his control. "Get everyone in the main conference room," Mitchell instructs. "It's time to show the world what really happens when you let innovators innovate." As teams assemble for the late-night meeting, Mitchell looks around at the faces, young interns burning with potential, experienced developers freed to create, brilliant minds no longer held back by corporate politics. This, he realizes, is what success really looks like. His phone buzzes one final time for the day. A message from an unknown number. "You think you've won? Watch your back. Some secrets stay buried." Mitchell forwards the threat to security, then turns his attention to the waiting conference room. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but tonight belongs to the builders, the dreamers, the ones who refuse to stay invisible. "Let's begin," he announces to the assembled teams. "We've got a future to build." Rain pelts against the windows of Sterling's downtown office as Mitchell arrives for his meeting with Sarah. The building lacks the grandeur of headquarters, exactly why he chose it for their conversation. No cameras, no executive entourage, no pretense. The security team, led by former military intelligence officer Kate Martinez, has already swept the floor. "Clean of surveillance, sir. Though someone tried to access the building's security feeds." "Last night?" Mitchell nods, unsurprised. "Keep the perimeter secure. No one in or out until we finish." Sarah waits in a small conference room, her designer clothes replaced by simple business attire. Dark circles under her eyes suggest sleepless nights. A thick folder sits before her. "Thank you for meeting here," she begins, her voice steady despite her obvious tension. "What I found, it couldn't go through official channels." She opens the folder, revealing documents spanning decades of Sterling operations. Harrison wasn't just Bradley's lawyer. He was his father's lawyer too. The corruption goes back 3 generations. The documents paint a devastating picture. Sterling Enterprises hadn't just suppressed innovation, they'd systematically destroyed competing technologies that threatened their dominance. "Bradley's grandfather started it," Sarah explains, pointing to key dates. "Any breakthrough that could disrupt Sterling's market position was either bought out and buried or what?" Mitchell prompts, though he suspects the answer. "Or accidents. Happened. Lab fires, data losses. Sometimes people just disappeared." Sarah's hands tremble. "Harrison kept records of everything. Insurance, he called it." Mitchell's mind races through implications. The quantum encryption backdoors weren't spying on competitors. They were for monitoring potential threats. Sarah pulls up an email chain on her tablet. Bradley used them to identify promising startups. Then Harrison's team would move in. "Why are you showing me this?" Mitchell studies her carefully. "Why now?" Sarah meets his gaze. "Because Harrison's still doing it. That startup in Seattle that mysteriously lost its funding last week? Their quantum research could have exposed the back doors. Harrison made some calls. Do you have proof?" "Better." Sarah produces a small drive. Harrison's personal files. "He keeps everything, Mitchell. Every dirty deal, every buried innovation, every accident they arranged. Got it from his assistant. Turns out loyalty can be bought, especially when you have proof someone's been stealing your work." Kate enters with urgent news. "Sir, Harrison's called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. Claims to have evidence of irregularities in the Anderson acquisition." Mitchell's expression hardens. He's making his move. "There's more," Sarah adds quietly. "Bradley's new venture? It's backed by Harrison's old contacts. They're not just competing. They're trying to take back control of Sterling Enterprises. Through legal channels if possible, other means if necessary." The rain intensifies outside as Mitchell absorbs the implications. His phone buzzes. Rebecca sending security footage from headquarters. Harrison's team is accessing restricted servers, downloading massive amounts of data. "Kate, Lock down all central servers. Now. Mitchell turns to Sarah. Why didn't you take this to Bradley? He trusted you. Because I finally saw him clearly. Sarah's voice carries years of realization. He's not a visionary. He's a fraud who destroys real visionaries. Just like his father. Just like Harrison. I was too blinded by the lifestyle to see it before. Mitchell's next moves unfold with precision. First, a call to Emma. How quickly can you implement the new encryption protocols? The core architectures. Ready, Emma responds. But a full rollout needs at least a week of testing. You have 12 hours. Use everything we've got. Next, to Rebecca. Get me Mark Winters and David Chen. Tell them to drop everything and meet me at the quantum lab. Finally, to Derek. Remember that contingency plan we discussed? It's time. Sarah watches this flurry of activity with growing concern. What are you going to do? I'm going to finish what I started, Mitchell answers, gathering the documents. Not just save Sterling Enterprises, but transform it into what it should have been all along. A place where innovation thrives instead of dies. The next hours blur into a frenzy of activity. In the quantum lab, Emma's team works miracles with code while Mark and David integrate their systems. Amy and her fellow interns discover patterns in Harrison's data that even he didn't know existed. By midnight, Mitchell's office has become a command center. Screens display real-time security feeds, server statistics, and communication logs. Every move Harrison's team makes is monitored, analyzed, countered. Sir? Jessica interrupts his focus. Your mother's here. Mitchell looks up, surprised, as his mother enters carrying several bags of takeout. You missed dinner again, she states simply. Your team needs to eat. As his mother distributes food among the exhausted developers, Mitchell is struck by the contrast. In one corner, brilliant minds battle corporate corruption with cutting-edge technology. In another, his mother ensures no one works on an empty stomach. A notification pops up. Harrison accessing his office after hours. The security feed shows him removing files, making calls. Let him dig his grave, Rebecca advises, reviewing the logs. Every file he accesses, every call he makes, it's all being recorded through Emma's new protocols. Thomas arrives with fresh intelligence. Bradley's team is moving fast. They've scheduled press conferences, prepared statements about rescuing Sterling Enterprises from hostile elements. Classic misdirection, Sarah observes. They'll paint you as the destroyer while positioning themselves as saviors. Mitchell allows himself a small smile. Except we have something they don't. What's that? Kate asks. The truth. And tomorrow, everyone sees it. As teams finalize preparations for the coming battle, Mitchell finds a quiet moment in the roof garden. The rain has stopped, leaving the city air clean and sharp. His phone shows messages from Bradley's allies, offering deals, threatening consequences. He thinks of Sarah's revelation, of Harrison's decades of corruption, of all the innovations buried to protect one family's power. Tomorrow will change everything, not just for Sterling Enterprises, but for every dreamer who's ever been told to stay quiet, stay small, stay invisible. Ready for war? Rebecca joins him, offering coffee. Mitchell takes the cup, watching dawn approach. Not war, revolution. Back in the command center, David Chen interrupts with an urgent discovery. Mr. Anderson, I found something in Harrison's encrypted files. It's about Project Atlas, but not the version we knew about. Mitchell follows David to his workstation, where complex diagrams fill multiple screens. There was another Project Atlas? A shadow version, David explains, his fingers flying over the keyboard. Everything we found before? That was just the surface. The real Project Atlas was something else entirely. Emma joins them, her expertise in quantum encryption proving crucial. These protocols? They're beyond anything Sterling Enterprises has publicly acknowledged. This isn't just about suppressing innovation. They were building something. The screens show a vast network of interconnected systems, all feeding into a central architecture that makes Mitchell's blood run cold. They weren't just monitoring potential threats, he realizes. They were creating a kill switch for any technology that could challenge their dominance. Sarah's voice comes from behind them. That's why. Bradley was so desperate to control the quantum division. Your encryption would have exposed their entire network. Kate Martinez's team reports movement at Sterling's satellite offices. Harrison's people are activating dormant protocols. Whatever they're planning, it's starting now. Mitchell's response is immediate. Emma, how close are we to implementing the new security architecture? Core systems are ready, but rolling it out company-wide. She glances at her team, calculating. Even with everyone working at full capacity, we'd need at least 8 hours. Harrison's board meeting is at 6, Rebecca reminds them. Mitchell surveys the room, brilliant minds waiting for direction, each understanding the stakes. Then we work faster. David, take point on the blockchain integration. Emma, your team focuses on quantum encryption. Mark, coordinate between them. We move as one unit. As teams mobilize, Thomas pulls Mitchell aside. There's something else. Those accidents Sarah mentioned? I cross-referenced them with old news reports. Every single technological breakthrough that mysteriously failed in the last 30 years. Harrison was involved. Mitchell's tablet lights up with Thomas's findings. Promising startups that vanished overnight. Revolutionary patents that got buried in litigation. Brilliant innovators who suddenly abandoned their life's work. The scope of this. Mitchell shakes his head. It's not just about Sterling Enterprises anymore. They've been suppressing technological advancement across the entire industry. And making fortunes doing it, Rebecca adds, joining them. Every buried innovation created market opportunities for Sterling's controlled releases. They weren't just stealing ideas. They were manipulating global technological progress. A young intern, Michael Torres, rushes up with more data. Sir, I found connections to venture capital firms, patent offices, even academic institutions. Harrison's network is everywhere. Not for long, Mitchell assures him. Get this to Amy's team. Map every connection, every vulnerability. Sarah, who's been quiet, suddenly straightens. The charity galas. That's how they did it. All eyes turn to her as she explains. Bradley's family-hosted technology charity galas every year. Young innovators would present their breakthroughs, hoping for funding. But it wasn't about charity. It was reconnaissance. Harrison's team used these events to identify threats. And now we use their own network against them, Mitchell decides. He turns to Kate. How many of Harrison's team are still in the building? 17. All accessing sensitive data, just like we predicted. Perfect. Emma, are the honeypot servers ready? Emma's grin is fierce. Loaded with exactly what they're looking for, and a few surprises. The night deepens as Sterling Enterprises transforms into a battlefield of code and innovation. In the quantum lab, Emma's team races to implement security protocols that shouldn't be possible for years. David's blockchain architecture evolves, in real time, adapting to each new threat. Mitchell's mother, understanding the gravity of the situation, turns the break room into a sustenance station. She recruits other employees' family members to help, creating a support network that keeps the teams functioning through the crisis. Around 3 a.m., Jessica brings critical news. Harrison's assistant sent more files. Internal communications going back decades. They weren't just suppressing technology. They were weaponizing failures. The new documents reveal a pattern more sinister than anyone imagined. Sterling Enterprises hadn't just buried innovations. They'd strategically released flawed versions, creating public distrust in revolutionary technologies that threatened their control. That's why Bradley rushed the original Project Atlas. Release, Sarah realizes. It wasn't just about claiming credit. They needed it to fail spectacularly enough to discourage similar research. Mitchell's quiet fury finds purpose in action. Jessica, get me every developer who was blamed for Project OW, Atlas's failure. Not just the ones still in tech, everyone. Tell them it's time for the truth. As dawn approaches, the command center hums with coordinated purpose. Amy's team has mapped Harrison's entire network of influence. David's blockchain solution has sealed every digital vulnerability. Emma's quantum encryption stands ready to protect it all. Mark Winters steps back from his station, rubbing tired eyes. Mitchell, remember when we used to dream about changing the world? We weren't dreaming big enough, Mitchell responds, surveying the room full of innovators fighting for the future of technology itself. A notification catches his attention. Bradley Sterling has arrived at the building, hours before the board meeting. Security footage shows him meeting Harrison in the parking garage, both men looking grim. Let them come, Rebecca says quietly. Everything's ready. Mitchell nods to Kate, who implements the final security protocols. Every entrance, every server, every system is now protected by technology that Harrison's network never saw coming, because they were too busy trying to prevent it from existing. Sarah watches the security feeds, her expression complex. I kept wondering why you didn't expose them immediately. Why did you take the time to build all this first? Because exposure wasn't enough, Mitchell explains. The technology they suppressed, the innovations they buried, it all needs to be free. Today isn't just about stopping them. It's about releasing every breakthrough they've hidden, every innovation they've chained. His phone buzzes with messages from developers around the world, brilliant minds who'd been silenced by Harrison's network, now ready to reclaim their work. The revolution won't just be in Sterling Enterprises' boardroom, it will ripple through every corner of the tech industry. Sir, Jessica interrupts softly. It's time. Mitchell straightens his tie, looking around at the teams who've worked through the night to make this moment possible. Whatever happens in that boardroom, you've already won. You've proven that real innovation can't be buried forever. As he heads toward the elevator, his mother catches his arm. Give them hell, sweetheart. But remember, you're not just fighting against something, you're fighting for something. The sun rises over Manhattan as Mitchell Anderson prepares to face down decades of corruption. In his pocket, a small drive contains enough truth to reshape the tech industry. Behind him, an army of innovators stands ready to reclaim the future. Ready for the board meeting? Rebecca asks, joining him in the elevator. Mitchell's smile is resolute. Ready to make history. The Sterling Enterprises boardroom fills with tension as members arrive for the emergency meeting. Sunlight streams through the windows, casting long shadows across the polished table where James Harrison arranges his documents with practiced precision. Bradley Sterling sits at the far end, a power play meant to distance himself from his former seat at the cow, head of the table. Beside him, a team of lawyers whisper urgently, passing notes and checking tablets. Mitchell arrives exactly on time, Rebecca and Thomas flanking him. The room falls silent as he takes his seat, notes untouched before him. Through his earpiece, he can hear Emma's team monitoring the building's systems. Unauthorized access attempts detected in the East server room, Emma reports quietly. Harrison's people are right where we want them. Charles Wright, the eldest board member, calls the meeting to order. Mr. Harrison has called this emergency session to address concerns about the recent acquisition. Mr. Harrison, you have the floor. Harrison rises, his silver hair and tailored suit projecting authority earned through decades of corporate manipulation. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I come before you with evidence of serious irregularities in Anderson Technologies' acquisition of Sterling Enterprises. He begins distributing folders, but Mitchell raises his hand. Before we proceed, I believe the board should be aware of some relevant information. He nods to Rebecca, who activates the room's displays. What you're about to see, Mitchell continues, is the real history of Sterling Enterprises' technology suppression program. Harrison freezes. This is highly irregular. We have an agenda. Yes, we do. Mitchell's voice carries quiet authority. For 30 years, you've had an agenda of destroying innovations that threaten Sterling's control. Today, that agenda changes. The screens fill with evidence. Harrison's secret files, Project Atlas's shadow version, decades of orchestrated technological accidents. With each revelation, board members' expressions shift from skepticism to shock. This is absurd, Bradley interjects. You can't possibly verify. Actually, we can. Rebecca activates another display, showing live feeds from Sterling's satellite offices. Right now, Harrison's team is accessing what they think are secure servers. Instead, they're documenting their own criminal enterprise. Harrison's composure cracks. This meeting is adjourned. I move to, sit down, James. The command comes from Charles Wright, his voice hard. For once in your career, you're going to listen. Mitchell stands, commanding the room's attention. Sterling Enterprises was founded on innovation, but somewhere along the way, it became about control. Every breakthrough that threatened your power was buried. Every innovator who challenged your dominance was destroyed. The doors open as Kate Martinez leads in a group of familiar faces, developers whose careers Harrison had systematically dismantled. Among them stands Dr. Eleanor Chen, whose quantum computing research had vanished 10 years ago. Dr. Chen, Mitchell acknowledges. Would you like to tell the board what really happened to Project Quantum? Eleanor steps forward, her presence making Harrison visibly uncomfortable. A decade ago, I developed quantum architecture that would have revolutionized computing. Sterling Enterprises offered to fund my research. 6 months later, my lab burned down, my data vanished, and my reputation was destroyed. Tragic accident, Harrison interjects smoothly. As the investigation showed, the investigation you controlled? Mitchell pulls up more documents. Like the investigations into every other accident that conveniently eliminated threats to Sterling's dominance? Bradley stands abruptly. This is a conspiracy to destabilize. No, Bradley. Sarah's voice cuts through his protest as she enters with another stack of evidence. The conspiracy was yours and your father's and Harrison's. I have proof of every deal, every buried innovation, every destroyed career. The boardroom erupts in chaos as decades of corruption unravel. Through his earpiece, Mitchell hears Emma's triumphant voice. All servers secured. Harrison's team just triggered our trap. Every attempt to access restricted data has been logged and traced. Thomas quietly shows Mitchell his tablet. Sterling Enterprises' stock is soaring as word of the new quantum encryption protocols leaks to the market. Investors are betting on innovation, not suppression. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell addresses the board. You have a choice to make. Continue supporting a system built on destroying innovation, or help me transform Sterling Enterprises into what it should have been all along, a platform for revolutionary technology. Charles Wright studies Mitchell thoughtfully. And what happens to those whose careers were destroyed? The innovations that were buried? They come home. Mitchell gestures to Eleanor and the other developers. Every patent Harrison buried gets fast-tracked. Every innovator he silenced gets funding and support. We don't just acknowledge the past, we make it right. Harrison's laugh is cold. You naive fool. You think this is about right and wrong? This is about power. The old money that controls this industry will never allow. The old money, Mitchell interrupts, is already adapting. Check your phone, James. While we've been talking, Emma's team has implemented quantum encryption across our entire network. The technology you buried? It's already changing the world. Bradley's face contorted with rage. You planned this. All of it. The acquisition, the evidence? No, Bradley. You planned this. Every time you chose control over innovation, suppression over progress, you wrote this ending yourself. Mitchell turns to the board. The vote is yours. But remember, the world is watching. The vote that follows is unprecedented in Sterling Enterprises history. One by one, board members choose the future over the past. Harrison and Bradley find themselves outvoted, outmaneuvered, and ultimately outdated. As security escorts Harrison from the building, Mitchell receives updates from around the company. Emma's team has already begun integrating Eleanor's quantum computing breakthroughs. David Chen's blockchain architecture is revolutionizing secure communication. Amy and her fellow interns are uncovering innovations that had been buried for decades. Sarah approaches Mitchell as the boardroom empties. There's something you should know. Bradley, he didn't just steal me from you. He stole my faith in real innovation. Thank you for giving it back. Mitchell's response is interrupted by an urgent call from Kate. Sir, we've got a situation. Harrison had a failsafe, a virus designed to corrupt our entire network. It's active now. Let me guess. Mitchell smiles slightly. Emma already has a solution? Better, Kate replies. The interns found it last night. They've been working with Dr. Chen to transform it into an upgrade opportunity. Harrison's last attempt to destroy innovation just became its biggest catalyst. Later, that evening, Mitchell stands in his office, watching the sunset paint Manhattan's skyline. The day's events have transformed not just Sterling Enterprises, but the entire tech industry. Markets are buzzing with news of buried innovations finally seeing light, of brilliant minds reclaiming their work. His mother arrives with dinner, but this time she's not alone. Eleanor Chen, Mark Winters, and other once-silenced innovators join them. The office becomes a celebration of resurrection, not just of careers and innovations, but of hope itself. To the quiet ones, Rebecca raises a toast, who refuse to stay buried. Mitchell's phone buzzes with a message from Emma. Quantum. Encryption fully implemented. Harrison's network is exposed worldwide. Want to see what real innovation looks like? He looks around at the gathering. Brilliant minds finally free to create, to innovate, to transform the world. This, he realizes, is what winning really means. Not destroying the old power, but building something better in its place. Sir, Jessica interrupts gently. The press is waiting. They want to know what happens next. Mitchell straightens his tie, ready to face the world. We show them what happens when you let dreamers dream. In the moments following the board's historic vote, the building comes alive with purposeful chaos. Teams of auditors led by Thomas begin seizing Harrison's records from every office and storage facility. The evidence trail stretches beyond Sterling Enterprises, implicating venture capital firms, patent offices, and tech incubators in a web of systematic innovation suppression. Mr. Anderson, Michael Torres rushes in, tablet extended. We found something on Harrison's personal server. Project Quantum wasn't the only breakthrough they buried. There's another one, Project Oracle. Mitchell studies the files Michael uncovered. Project Oracle had been more than just innovative. It was revolutionary. A true artificial intelligence framework, developed 15 years ago by a team of researchers who subsequently vanished from the tech world entirely. Find them, Mitchell instructs Kate's team. Every researcher involved in Project Oracle. If they're still alive, bring them in. It's time they saw their work come to life. Rebecca's analysis reveals the terrifying scope of Harrison's influence. The suppression wasn't random, she explains, displaying a complex network of connections. They created technological dead zones, entire areas of research that became too dangerous to explore because of mysterious failures and career-ending accidents. Like a chess game, Dr. Eleanor Chen observes, studying the pattern. They weren't just protecting Sterling's interests, they were shaping the entire future of technology. The quantum lab has transformed into a hub of resurrection. Emma's team works alongside Eleanor's recovered research, merging quantum encryption with innovations that should have transformed the world years ago. The energy is electric, brilliant minds finally free to push boundaries without fear. David Chen's voice comes through Mitchell's earpiece. Sir, we've got movement in the financial sector. Harrison's old allies are starting to dump sterling stock. Right on schedule, Mitchell responds. He turns to Thomas. Activate Protocol Phoenix. Across the globe, Sterling's quantum network springs to life. Every suppressed innovation, every buried breakthrough suddenly becomes accessible to its original creators. Harrison's carefully constructed technological barriers crumble in the face of unrestricted quantum computing power. Sarah, monitoring market reactions, catches Mitchell's attention. Look at this. Tech startups worldwide are announcing breakthroughs in quantum computing, AI development, clean energy. They're not just reclaiming old innovations, they're building on them. In the midst of the activity, Amy Parker makes another crucial discovery. The virus Harrison planted. It wasn't just meant to destroy our network. It was designed to trigger similar protocols in every major tech company. He planned to erase decades of private research. Mitchell watches as his teams collaborate to transform Harrison's destructive code into something revolutionary. The intern's fresh perspective, combined with Eleanor's quantum expertise and Emma's encryption protocols, turns a weapon of destruction into a catalyst for innovation. The press gathering in the lobby grows as news spreads. Technology reporters worldwide recognize the significance of what's happening at Sterling Enterprises. This isn't just a corporate takeover, it's a technological liberation. Mitchell, Mark Winters calls from his workstation. Remember that processing problem we could never solve at our old startup? The one that seemed impossible? He grins, displaying his screen. Turns out Harrison's team buried the solution 15 years ago. We were right all along. The afternoon brings more revelations. Kate's team discovers a hidden archive of Harrison's trophy room, detailed records of every innovation he successfully suppressed, every career he destroyed to maintain Sterling's technological dominance. He kept everything, Rebecca marvels, reviewing the files. Every threat assessment, every orchestrated failure, every destroyed life. He was proud of it. The magnitude of Harrison's crimes becomes clear as more victims come forward. Dr. Samantha Reeves, whose clean energy breakthrough mysteriously failed after Sterling showed interest. Professor James Martinez, whose AI ethics framework vanished in a convenient lab accident. Brilliant minds are systematically silenced to protect the status quo. Mitchell gathers his expanding team in the main conference room. The faces before him represent both the victims of Harrison's suppression and the architects of technology's liberation. Today, we don't just expose the truth, he announces. We restore what was stolen. Every patent Harrison buried, every innovation he suppressed, it all comes back to life. Eleanor steps forward. There's more. The quantum architecture Harrison tried to destroy, it wasn't just about computing power. It was about accessibility, democratizing innovation itself, which is exactly why they feared it, Emma adds. Imagine a world where breakthrough technology can't be controlled by a handful of corporations, where innovation belongs to the innovators. The implications ripple through the room. Harrison hadn't just suppressed specific technologies, he'd fought to maintain a system where innovation could be controlled, contained, and commodified. As evening approaches, Mitchell receives an unexpected call. Lisa Chen, Rebecca's younger sister and a promising quantum researcher, has discovered something in the newly liberated data. Mr. Anderson, Harrison's network. It wasn't just about suppressing technology. They were building something. Something big. Mitchell puts the call on speaker as Lisa explains. Hidden in the fragments of suppressed innovations, Harrison's team had been assembling pieces of a larger puzzle. Each buried breakthrough, each destroyed career had brought them closer to a singular goal. Project Terminus, Lisa reveals. a system designed to give them permanent control over technological advancement itself. The room falls silent as the true scope of Harrison's ambition becomes clear. Sterling Enterprises hadn't just been protecting its market position, it had been working toward absolute control of humanity's technological future. "Sir," Jessica interrupts the heavy moment. "Bradley Sterling is giving another press conference. He's calling for a congressional investigation into Anderson Technologies." Mitchell watches Bradley on the screen, noting the desperation beneath his polished exterior. "Let him talk. The truth doesn't need defense. It needs witnesses." Team. Day's final hours bring a steady stream of revelations. Kate's team uncovers Harrison's offshore accounts, filled with profits from decades of technological suppression. Emma's quantum network continues liberating buried innovations, each breakthrough adding to the revolution. Sarah approaches Mitchell as teams begin wrapping up for the night. "There's something else you should know. The night I left, Bradley didn't just offer me a job. He showed me Harrison's files. They'd been watching you for years, seeing you as a potential threat." "And you still chose him," Mitchell observes without bitterness. "I chose wrong," Sarah admits. "I chose the illusion of power over the reality of innovation. I'll spend the rest of my career trying to make that right." As the office slowly empties, Mitchell finds himself back in the roof garden. The city lights below mirror the constellation of innovations now free to illuminate the world. His phone buzzes with messages from developers worldwide, each discovering their stolen work emerging from Harrison's digital vault. Rebecca joins him, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "The quantum team found more Project Oracle files, the AI framework. It's beyond anything we imagined. With Eleanor's quantum architecture, we don't just restore what was stolen," Mitchell finishes. "We build something entirely new." The night air carries the promise of revolution, not just in technology, but in the very nature of innovation itself. Harrison had spent decades building walls. Mitchell and his team have spent one day tearing them down. "Sir," Jessica appears with a final update. "Dr. Marcus Rivera is here, the original Project Oracle lead researcher." Mitchell turns to see an older man, gray-haired but eyes bright with renewed purpose. The man who'd created true AI 15 years ago, only to have his life's work buried by Harrison's machinery of suppression. "Welcome home, Dr. Rivera," Mitchell extends his hand. "Ready to change the world?" The old inventor's smile carries decades of vindication. "The world's already changing, Mr. Anderson. We're just here to make sure it changes right this time." The transformation of Sterling Enterprises headquarters nears completion as workers replace the old corporate logo with a new design, a quantum circuitry pattern forming an open door. Inside, the building hums with the energy of unbridled innovation. Mitchell surveys the changes from his office, now relocated to a collaborative space in the heart of the research floors, rather than the isolated executive suite Bradley had preferred. Screens display news headlines marking the past month's revolution. Tech liberation, thousands of buried innovations see light. Harrison Network. Exposed, global technology suppression ring. Faces justice. Sterling Enterprises leads innovation. Renaissance under Anderson. Congress launches investigation into decades of tech suppression. "The Quantum Processing Center is online," Emma announces, entering with Dr. Eleanor Chen. "We're already seeing breakthrough applications we never imagined possible." Eleanor adds, 3 major universities have confirmed successful replications of the architecture. Open-source innovation is spreading faster than Harrison's network could ever have contained. Mitchell's attention turns to a live feed from Washington, where Bradley Sterling faces a congressional hearing. His once immaculate appearance shows signs of strain as he attempts to defend decades of systematic innovation. Suppression. "Mr. Sterling," a senator's voice carries through the feed, "are you saying you were unaware that your company actively destroyed technological breakthroughs that could have transformed healthcare, environmental protection, And global communication? Rebecca mutes the feed, smiling grimly. He's been trying to blame everything on Harrison, but Kate's team found his private servers. Speaking of Harrison, Thomas enters with fresh intelligence. Interpol just found his backup facility in Geneva. The quantum encryption protocols he tried to bury? They've already been released to legitimate researchers worldwide. The morning brings a steady stream of developments. Amy Parker leads a team briefing on previously suppressed clean energy innovations now being fast-tracked for implementation. David Chen demonstrates how blockchain integration is protecting independent developers from corporate theft. Sir, Jessica interrupts, Dr. Rivera's team has something you need to see. The Project Oracle Lab has transformed from a historical recovery project into a glimpse of the future. Dr. Marcus Rivera, surrounded by young developers, stands before a display showing patterns too complex for traditional computing to process. We didn't just recover the original AI framework, he explains, eyes bright with vindication. By integrating it with Eleanor's quantum architecture and Emma's encryption, we've created something entirely new, true artificial intelligence, but with guaranteed ethical constraints and transparent development. Mitchell watches the system process information in ways that would have seemed impossible a month ago. Harrison tried to bury this because it makes centralized control of technology impossible, Rivera confirms. This AI doesn't just solve problems. It democratizes innovation itself. Any developer, anywhere in the world, can access quantum computing power to build something revolutionary. Sarah arrives with market analysis showing the impact of liberated innovations. Companies that had profited from suppressing technology are struggling, while a new generation of startups builds on previously buried breakthroughs. The old power structure is crumbling, she observes. Bradley's allies are scrambling to distance themselves from Harrison's network. Mitchell's mother visits around lunchtime, but this time she brings reinforcements, families of developers, whose careers Harrison had destroyed, now restored through Sterling's rehabilitation program. The office gathering becomes a celebration of resurrection. To think, Eleanor muses, watching young interns collaborate with veteran developers. All of this was buried just to protect their control. The afternoon brings Lisa Chen's team presentation on Project Terminus, Harrison's ultimate weapon against technological freedom. He didn't just want to suppress innovation, Lisa explains. He wanted to control human technological advancement itself. And now, Mitchell prompts, now we use its architecture to ensure no one can ever build such a system again. Lisa grins. The quantum network doesn't just protect new innovations. It actively prevents the kind of centralized control Harrison tried to establish. Kate Martinez's security team reports another wave of Harrison's former allies turning themselves in. The evidence trail has exposed corruption at every level of the tech industry's old guard. They're not just confessing to suppressing technology, Kate notes. They're surrendering patents, research data, everything they stole. It's like watching an empire collapse in real time. As evening approaches, Mitchell receives an unexpected visitor, Charles Wright, looking older but somehow lighter. The board's quarterly review came in. What you've accomplished in 1 month? It's beyond anything Sterling Enterprises achieved in 3 generations. We didn't achieve it, Mitchell corrects him. We just stopped preventing others from achieving. And the quantum lab buzzes with activity as Dr. Rivera's AI framework begins processing decades of suppressed research. Patterns emerge, connections form, and innovations thought impossible begin taking shape. Mr. Anderson, Amy calls out excitedly, you need to see this. The AI found something in Harrison's earliest files, research from the 1990s that could revolutionize space travel. The discovery catalyzes another round of innovation. Teams that had been working separately suddenly found connections between their projects. The quantum network hums with the energy of unrestricted creativity. Sarah finds Mitchell in the roof garden, where new solar panels showcase one of the first liberated technologies. Bradley took a plea deal, she informs him. He's naming names, exposing every executive who participated in Harrison's network. And you? Mitchell asks quietly. What comes next for you? I'm heading to our downtown office tomorrow, she replies, starting over as a junior PR associate, learning to build something real. She pauses, looking out over the city. I'm sorry, Mitch. Not just for leaving, but for choosing the illusion of success over actual innovation. We all make choices, Mitchell responds. The important thing is what we build from them. The day's final gathering brings together the architects of the tech revolution. Eleanor Chen and Emma demonstrate quantum encryption protecting independent developers worldwide. Mark Winters and David Chen showcase blockchain systems ensuring innovation credit can never again be stolen. Dr. Rivera unveils the AI's latest breakthrough, a framework for transparent technological development that makes suppression impossible. The future isn't about control, he announces. It's about collaboration. Mitchell's mother, watching the presentations with pride, squeezes his hand. You didn't just save a company, sweetheart. You freed the future. As teams begin heading home, Mitchell receives one last update. The quantum network has detected and neutralized the final traces of Harrison's suppression systems worldwide. Technology is truly free for the first time in decades. Rebecca joins him at the window, remembering the quiet developer who had seen through Bradley's facade. You knew, didn't you? Even back then you saw what they were really doing. I saw. What they were preventing, Mitchell corrects her. All those buried dreams, suppressed innovations, destroyed careers, they weren't just controlling technology, they were controlling human potential itself. The city lights below mirror the constellation of innovations now illuminating the world. In labs and garages and dorm rooms across the globe, developers are building on liberated technology, creating breakthroughs Harrison's network would have buried. Sir, Jessica interrupts gently. The Time magazine interview is here. They want to know what's next for Sterling Enterprises. Mitchell looks around at his gathered team. Brilliant minds freed to innovate, young developers no longer bound by artificial limits, veterans whose stolen work has finally seen light. What's next? He smiles. We ensure no one ever has to. Stay invisible again. The new logo catches the morning sun, quantum circuits forming an open door. Below it, words that would have been impossible under Harrison's regime. Innovation belongs to everyone. Mitchell Anderson watches the next generation of developers arrive, each carrying dreams that can finally fly free. The quiet developer who got underestimated changed more than just a company. He changed the future itself. And somewhere in a downtown office, Sarah Mitchell begins her own journey of redemption, learning what Mitchell had known all along. Real success isn't about who you know or what you control. It's about what you build. Looking for more? We've got 2 amazing stories ready for you right on screen. If this one touched you, these are absolutely worth your time. Click to watch them now. And hey, subscribe and hit that bell to never miss our latest uploads.